career long, sorry, for what it can give you a career long, oh my god, hi editor. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between. Let's just put our hands together now. Join me in a prayer and bless our Lord and Savior, coronavirus, who is cleansing the earth of the scurvy of environmental damages and of financial pressures causing corruption. And also give our graceful gratitude towards Lord Corona for allowing so much extra YouTube content to be out there, and really just enjoying this blessing that we have of living in a technocratic society for the next however many weeks, months, or potentially years. So I would like to say hello and good luck to everyone out there. I do understand Corona is no laughing matter. It's an extremely serious virus, and all I can say, well, I can actually say quite a lot, but all I would like to say is, you got this, guys. Positive thinking does wonders for your immune system, does wonders for your mental health, meditation, yoga, all of these different things. They bring your nervous system down into its parasympathetic nervous system, and it relaxes you, and that really allows your body to fight off any extra viruses that are out there. So that's one of the many things that you could do to bring your health into optimal condition. Another thing you could do, learn how to play poker extraordinarily well and buy all the things you need for your medical conditions. So here we go. This is what I'm going to be doing. And what I'm going to be creating is a series in which I bring you into my mind, and a type of hand analysis where I cover up all of the other people's hole cards, and I allow you to enter my realm in how I was feeling in that specific scenario. So firstly, we're going to be tackling the hands from the PokerStars Championship Cash Game Challenge. We're amongst some very big names, including Kevin Hart, Daniel Negreanu, Liv Barry, Faraz Jack, and the challenger, Mila Monroe. A very, let's say, easy lineup, but fun lineup for us. I would imagine that we have a huge edge. The hourly that we're going to be making this game is going to be probably over 1,000 an hour. So it's nice to be able to sit there. We were drinking, we're having a lot of fun. And let's bring you into my mind and see what was happening. So, first of all, it's 25, 50, 100. Faraz Jacker is straddling under the gun, as everyone was. And Daniel Negreanu limps from the cutoff instantly here. I know he's not got a super strong hand. I know he would be raising if he did have something like ace king, aces, kings, queens, etc., because he wants to be building a pot versus Kevin Hart. Kevin isn't much of a raiser pre-flop. He can be, but generally he would just play passively. He wouldn't want to play huge pots. And to really build a pot versus him, you need to raise, you need to 3-bet. So I already think that D-Negs is captain. Liv Barry, 5x is the button. Ugh. She's probably going to have quite a strong hand. She knows that Daniel's probably not going to fold because everyone's playing very loose. She knows Kevin on her left is not going to be folding. And I'm also the second most active player at the table after Kevin. Definitely the most aggressive player at the table. So then Kevin calls out the small blind, and we have king 9 off in the big blind. What do? In most situations, in most games, if you have king 9 off and someone's in the big blind and someone's 5x'd it, you're out of position, probably going multi-way. You just want to throw this hand away. It's not going to be profitable. However, we are drinking and on TV, number 1. We're playing against Kevin, in position against him, number 2. And everyone does have looser ranges, number 3, because of Kevin and the dynamic and the television, all the things I mentioned. And then number 4, we also have a post-flop edge against everyone at the table as well, meaning that on average we're going to be making better decisions, better reads. At least that's what I strongly believe. So we head to a flop 9, 7, 7, 2 spades. We don't have a spade. This is good. This is good. This is what we wanted. Okay. We're not going to be leading out here. Definitely could. However, there is an okay chance that someone has a 7, more likely than usual. especially Daniel's limp calling range and Kevin's range have a lot more lower cards than you might normally expect. So we check. We don't want to get raised and feel uncomfortable. We check round to Liv, who can also have like aces through tens. She bets now 1,000 into a pot of what? It's 2,100, something along those lines. So half pot. I don't expect her to be bluffing here. I don't know about you guys. Kevin calls. She could be semi-bluffing, maybe like Jack 10 of spades, hands like that, King Queen of spades. And we have the decision, the big blinds. Now I want you to pause the video at every single decision point and ask yourself, what would you do? What would you do here? Obviously we call. Hopefully you didn't have to think too long. It's definitely a call. Daniel gets out of the way and we're three-way going to the turn. So the turn comes to 3. Pretty bricky. If we had the best hand on the flop, we almost definitely have the best hand on the turn. Kevin checks. We could definitely consider leading here, but again, we probably have a better hand than Kevin. He can have a bunch of draws. He can have a bunch of underpairs. Maybe he can have something like ace 10. He's a very wide stationary player. However, we don't want to lead and get raised by Liv. We don't want to lead and get called by Liv even, because we probably just don't have a better hand than her unless she has specifically a draw if she calls. So we check again, going in flow, and this is something you want to be doing a lot when you're playing poker. Is if you're checking on the flop and you call a bet, you probably want to be checking to the person who bet on the turn, unless something about the board changes. Maybe the flush comes in, maybe a straight comes in that you want to start repping. There are a lot of very specific scenarios that you want to be looking out for where you can be taking that betting lead away from them. But this definitely isn't one of them, as she has still a stronger range of cards than we have on average. So checks around the river is an offsuit king. Hallelujah, boys! When Liv checks, she doesn't have an overpair. She's going to be betting 10s plus, ace 9 plus. So we have a better hand than her almost always. And Kevin, unless he has something like King Queen of spades or King 9 specifically, maybe quads that might slow play, we almost definitely have a better hand than him. Music to our ears, boys. That is not the noises of somebody that has quads. So when Kevin leads out here, what do we expect him to have, boys? We're definitely not folding, obviously. We have a top 3 pair. You can't get much better than top 3 pair in this spot. So this is a situation that obviously it's something you can actually join in at home with, is try and get a live read here.
Let's do it.
25.
Why is Kevin betting?
Well, he could play a 7 this way.
If you start looking at me and doing a bunch of stuff, I'm gonna get upset. Cause you know there's nothing.
See it.
Yeah, but there's nothing that you can get from over here, so it's pointless. That's what you do whenever somebody tries to stare you down. Just look back at them, just do like the most annoying noises. Ma! Just, ma!
This is so fun.
Okay, so confident.
Charlie's really thinking about this one.
Well, don't forget there is action behind.
And I'll tell you why a live read in this specific situation is very important. The reason is, if we think Kevin is value betting, maybe something like King 10 of spades, maybe something like King Queen with the King of spades, along those lines, he's such a big station that we definitely want to raise. That we want to raise big. So if we think there's even like a maybe 30% chance that he's value betting here, we definitely want to raise huge, probably like to 10k, and get that Kevin Hart money, of which he has a bit too much of in my opinion. However, if we think he's bluffing, and it definitely could be a situation he might bluff because it checks rounds on the turn, and you know people like to bluff when it goes check check check. And Kevin, he definitely was a bluffer as well as a caller. If we think that he's bluffing, then we might want to make it look like we have a very tough decision, maybe with like ace high, maybe with a shitty 9, maybe with pocket 5s, something along those lines, that Liv then might try and re-hero call on top of us. So this is a situation, I want you to pause the video and really analyze Kevin's body language, the way he's speaking, the way he's acting. I know he's an actor, but he's not used to the pressure of playing high-stakes poker on TV. And if you think that he is bluffing, then how certain are you that he's bluffing? Are you 80% certain? Are you 60% certain? And I would say, okay, if you're above, let's say, 80% certain that he is bluffing, let's call. Let's try and get Liv in there with the re-hero call. If you're below, let's say 80, maybe 75% certain that he's bluffing, let's raise it up. Choose a size that you think maybe King Queen with the King of Spades might call, or King Queen of Spades might call. And it's Kevin Hart, so you make that decision for yourself with that information. And tell me what you would have done. So looking at Kevin, and I did have quite a few reads on Kevin. He wasn't exactly keeping himself to himself. I thought he was bluffing, and I was above 90% sure that he was bluffing. So I made it look as difficult of a decision as I could. Obviously, I'm not actually as pained as I tried to make it look. I really wanted Liv to try and re-hero call me if she had something like a 9. Liv does make the discipline fold. She could see as well that Kevin was bluffing. She was going to snap him off as well. And Kevin ends up showing us the 4-4. The bluff! The value bluff kind of merge thing. I don't mind the play from Kevin. I can see calling the flop when you're 4-way. It's definitely meant to be a fold on the flop. He isn't super aware of the dynamic that Liv is only really going to be value betting the flop. The reason Liv's only going to be value betting flop because she's playing against 3 crazy people, including Kevin. So she's not just going to be turning just like a random, 4-5 diamonds on the flop into a bluff here, because it's just not going to get through enough at the time. However, I'm not expecting Kevin as a recreational player to be super aware of these more intricate dynamics. So I don't mind his call on the flop. It's probably losing money on average, but whatever. You're Kevin Hart, do whatever you want, and you might be able to win it on some turns anyway, or some rivers. Check on the turn, everyone played it super fine, and on the river, the bluff is actually, it's fine. I would probably lean towards going a bit bigger. The problem is that the king just doesn't hit his range too hard unless he has specifically King X of Spades. And that is also a hand that other people can conceivably have as well. He has to get through 2 people, and he ends up bluffing less than half pot. So I don't think the bluff is maybe the most eloquent of bluffs that I've ever seen, but I do love the heart. So guys, let me know what you think of this sweat at home with Charlie in the Corona times way of looking at hand analyses. Let me know if you have any fun ideas of something I could add to these hand analyses to really help you guys learn how to play poker. And that's what I really want to focus on, is teaching you guys how to think. Because if there's anything that I've seen so consistently in the poker world, out of the, let's say, dozens or maybe hundreds of micro stakes or small stakes poker players that I've either spoken to or coached specifically, is that almost nobody has a streamlined thought process. They have a bit of information from here. They've learned some stuff from Pio Solver. They've learned some stuff from me. They've learned some stuff about this. They've learned some stuff about c-betting. It's all just amalgamated in their head and mushed up into this one conglomerate of messiness, where when you're in a hand, what you want to be thinking is, okay, what is my opponent's range and how do I exploit that? What is my opponent's range? How do I exploit that? Then maybe when you're playing against a better player, what does my range look like? What is my perceived range? And maybe if you're a GTO player, you want to be thinking, what is my actual range? But I don't sell that shit. I don't think it's particularly relevant to worry about balancing your range against people that don't even know what that means. So I really want to be teaching you guys how to be thinking about poker, and it's something I've already taught in my masterclass, and you can check that out on epiphany77.com. It's a 12-hour long segment of me really explaining from scratch how to build up a thought process to get to the point where you can play 2NL, the first level of cash games, to beating 25NL. And I've had people message me and say that they went from 2NL to 25NL. I've had people message me saying they've gone from 10NL to 100NL just from my masterclass. and obviously from their own hard work as well. So I feel good about promoting the product because I believe it's very good and a very cheap price for what it can give you, which is a whole career of good, solid information, really restructuring the way that you think about poker so it's no longer a confusing game and something you're completely on top of. So you can use all of that extra brain power that you've saved from streamlining your thought process to look at the more nuances of the poker game, maybe live tells, or maybe try and tune in with your intuition, things like that. So one last thing to say is that I will be also soon delivering out the Spiritual Mindset Masterclass, centered around poker, but also centered around anything else if you want to be successful in other areas, domains of business. And I've been filming that with Kathy. Unfortunately, Corona has put a little spanner in our works, and we're going to have to film some of it from home as well. But the content will still be extremely high. It will teach you a lot of things like meditation, manifestation, mindset, dealing with tilt, dealing with stress, all of the most common things that she and I have come across in poker players that people really have either niggling at them consciously or subconsciously. And again, you can sign up for that at epiphany77.com. In fact, if you sign up now, you'll be getting it cheaper than other people will, because once it comes out, then the price will be bumped up. So do go and check that out now. And of course, stay safe out there, guys. It's interesting, fun, creative, and kind of scary times. Do stay brave, do stay happy, do stay cheerful, do stay loving, and do stay safe. Peace.